YouTube today with Black with the Critical Drinker, and he is talking about Creed 3. As you all may know, I love Creed 3. I love Michael B. Jordan, cool dude. I have complete respect for this man. Love his job as an actor. He's really good at what he's doing, and he's an anime fan. So what's not to like about the man? He loves anime. He said he grew up his entire life watching Dragon Ball Z. We all did, and which is why I'm doing Dragon Ball. Also, stay tuned. I got a Dragon Ball Z Super video coming up of the strongest character in Dragon Ball Z Super. And then I got a Goku versus Omni-Man. And I got a Vegeta versus Homelander coming up. So make sure y'all like and subscribe and hit that notification bell for those videos, because I know a lot of y'all going to enjoy those videos.
Ride a bike is that sooner or later, the training wheels have to come off and you have to make a go of it by yourself with no one around to catch you if you fall. And I think that Creed 3, the first movie in the slightly weird sequel slash soft reboot of the Rocky franchise without the Italian stallion around to prop it up, is a perfect example of this. Does Adonis Creed finally manage to get out from under Rocky Balboa's shadow and forge his own legacy, or is he lost and directionless without the old veteran around to protect him? Well, the answer is yes and no. Creed 3 is a film I could best describe as a workman-like sequel, doing what it does competently well without ever really excelling at anything. It proves that Adonis Creed can stand on his own without Rocky there to support him, but it also lacks a certain magic and chemistry that made the Rocky series so compelling in the first place. The plot delivers some decent emotional beats between the two main rivals, while mostly neglecting the rest of the cast, and the direction proves that Michael B. Jordan is capable of hammering together a decent movie, even if the fight scenes are a bit flaccid towards the ends. In short, it's a mixed picture that I'll do my best to sort through in this review. Oh, and apologies in advance for the lack of relevant footage here, but as I've learned from past experience, MGM are complete assholes when it comes to copyright claims, so what you see might not always match up with what I'm discussing. Anyway, strap your gloves on and let's get into the ring, and I'll see you at the final bell. So Creed 3 picks up a few years after the events of the previous film. Adonis Creed is still the reigning champ, but he's approaching the end of his career, and after easily winning his final fight by knockout, he announces his retirement from the world of boxing. A fulfilled man who went out at the top of his game with nothing left to prove. Flash forward a few years and all seems to be well in Adonis's world. He's a successful fight promoter and trainer, preparing the current heavyweight champion for a fight against Victor Drago. And I have to admit, unlike the Rocky movies, it's nice to see that former opponents don't just blink out of existence the moment they lose to Creeds. I mean, whatever happened to Clubber Lang and Ivan Drago after their bouts with Rocky? Did they just retire out of shame or what? Anyway, whatever. So Adonis's happy existence is disrupted one day by the return of his childhood friend Dame Anderson, a former amateur boxer who's been serving an 18-year prison sentence over an incident the two of them got involved in as teenagers. Whereas Adonis escaped punishment and went on to a life of fame and success, Dame took the rap for everything and was forced to watch it all happen from behind bars. Anyway, he's keen to get back into boxing and hopes one day for a shot at the title, but because he's getting older, he knows he doesn't have time to slowly work his way up through the ranks and become a contender, so instead he wants Adonis to use his connections and pave the way for him. Naturally, Adonis isn't too keen on this, but when Victor Drago gets attacked and injured by a mysterious assailant at a party, sidelining him from fighting while he heals up, Adonis hits on the idea of selling Dame as a kind of Rocky Balboa 2.0, a rank amateur given a 1,000,000-to-1 shot against the reigning champ. This all came together very conveniently for Dame, didn't it? It's almost like he engineered the whole thing. Anyway, needless to say, Dame dominates the fight and knocks out his opponent to become the heavyweight champ. And when he publicly berates and attacks Adonis, the former champion's left with no choice but to come out of retirement for one last fight to settle the score. You know, for a movie that makes such a big deal out of emerging from Rocky Balboa's shadow, it's kind of interesting that the basic framework of the story is just a copy-paste job from Rocky 5. The aging protagonist retires from boxing and takes up a new role as mentor to an up-and-coming fighter who ultimately turns against him, forcing him to come out of retirement for one last grudge match. There's even a subplot about the main character's kid getting into trouble and fighting at school and learning to stand up for themselves. The thing is, and I can't quite believe I'm about to say this, but as bleak and depressing as Rocky 5 was, I think the overall story actually worked better because the emotional beats hit home with more force. Rocky lost not just his health, but all of his money and security in the process. process. He was depressed and lost without boxing, pining for his old mentor and questioning what it was all for, and straight away you empathised with the guy. When he took on Tommy Gunn as his protege, it was as much a redemption for Rocky as it was for Gunn, a way for him to live vicariously through the younger man, and Gunn's ultimate betrayal hit so much harder because Rocky had so much invested in him. Adonis, on the other hand, retires on his own terms to a life of wealth and comfort. He's happy and fulfilled in retirement, with a thriving business and public adoration. You don't feel like there's a huge amount at stake for the guy, because whether he wins or loses, he'll never have to work a single day for the rest of his life. And his relationship with Dame never really extends beyond doing a favour for an old friend, so the sense of hurt and betrayal isn't really there this time. There's a bare hint of a subplot with his daughter who wants to follow in his footsteps and gets into trouble at school as a result, but it doesn't really tie into anything and there's no real resolution to it. Again, Rocky V put forward the idea that Tommy Gunn became a kind of surrogate son for Rocky, causing him to neglect and ignore the plight of his actual son, who was struggling to fit into a new environment that he totally wasn't prepared for. Like I say, I'm not holding up Rocky V as some misunderstood masterpiece or anything, but I'm just saying that from a writing point of view, it actually did a better job of tying together all of its narrative strands to form a cohesive story with a logical arc. Creed 3 has a lot of the same elements at its disposal, but doesn't really seem to know how to make use of them. The script doesn't really give Bianca much to do either. There's a vague suggestion that she's unhappy about being forced to retire from singing because of her hearing problems, which kind of mirrors what Creed's going through, but again, that subplot doesn't really go anywhere for her. It's not like she's bitter and angry and takes her frustrations out on Adonis. In fact, for the most part, she's pretty much superfluous to the story. Again, compare her to Adrian, who was always the emotional.
I see what he's doing. He's comparing like the Rocky movies to the Creed movies, which that's fine and all. But I thought he was just gonna talk about the Creed movie. I understand what he's doing. It's like, hey man, are you taking all these Rocky movies and throwing Creed in? We all get it. I miss Rocky too. I want him in this movie too, but still, you can't get your cookies and milk together. It just won't work.
Emotional heart of the movie for Rocky and basically acted as his sounding board, forcing him to admit things that he'd rather not face up to. On the plus side, the performances were solid throughout. Jordan's definitely grown as an actor throughout these movies and he seems much more comfortable with the character now. This version of Creed is older and more battle scarred than before, a veteran of the ring who's already fought his wars and has nothing left to prove. In fact, the film actually makes a lot of references to the fact that he's old and damaged now, and you kind of have to wonder where they can possibly take him if they decide to do a fourth film. The star of the show though is Jonathan Majors as Dame. After watching him struggle through the river of dog shit that was Ant-Man 3, it's nice to see him in a movie where his talents can actually get recognised. Dame's a bit of a tortured soul, broken down by 2 decades in prison, but there's an anger and jealousy burning away behind it all. You feel like the guy could flip out at any moment, and it gives every scene with Adonis the kind of tension you could cut with a knife. On the directing front, this was Michael B. Jordan's first stint behind the camera, and it's not a bad effort to be fair. If I was going to be super critical, I'd say the opening 30 or 40 minutes feel kind of flabby and uneventful, just lots of long conversations and character moments that could have been tightened up to improve the pacing. And for all the clever editing tricks, the final fight feels weirdly flat and anticlimactic. Every other movie in the series gave us well-structured fights with a definite ebb and flow. For example, one character taking a beating at first and then slowly clawing back ground as the rounds drag on, or another dominating the fight technically but exhausting himself trying to land that knockout blow. But here, there's no real indication that either man is winning or losing. It's just Adonis and Dame trading blows for several minutes, both looking pretty fresh and agile right up to the end, until one of them eventually falls over. And I don't know man, it just didn't really provoke much emotion in me one way or the other. I guess I've always struggled to justify the existence of the Creed movies, since they're basically just slicker, modern retellings of the same story, only with a different, less likeable main character, but the pull of seeing Rocky one last time was usually enough to keep me hanging around at the periphery. But now that he's gone and the trailing wheels are off, I can't help but wonder how far the series is going to go before toppling over. Looking at this film as just a generic boxing drama, it's a decent enough movie with a good cast and competent direction that hits most of the marks that it needs to. The only problem is, Rocky casts a very long shadow, and as much as Creed 3 tries to move beyond it, it's got a very long way to go if it hopes to dethrone the champ one day. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Guys.
Let me tell you right now, I don't think they're gonna do or no, they're not gonna do a Creed. 5. Think I said that right? Creed 5? I'm thinking I just had a brain. I'm so sorry. I just had a brain fart. So my brain is like thinking like, what did Because the last one I'm thinking to myself in my head right now is that they're gonna do one more. They're gonna do like a Creed 4, and it's gonna be just a send them off. And that's what I'm thinking in my head right now. I'm trying to think. Trying to say it in a way where it makes sense because it's like I don't see Michael B. Jordan like the type of guy that'll milk something. Like yeah, it just made him some money, but I just don't see him trying to say, oh well, I'm gonna milk this until till the money start coming in. If that makes sense to you guys, but I still enjoyed it. It was good to me. I had no problem with it whatsoever. But some people might. I don't know. You know, you do have those weirdos out there that that bash on stuff that they don't like because they hate the way they did things. But like I said, I don't see Michael B. Jordan trying to milk this for money. I honestly don't. So it is what it is. But anyways, guys, make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Stay tuned. I got a Goku versus Omni-Man going up next week. And I got a Vegeta versus Homelander going up next week. And also stay tuned for the Pokemon versus battle I'm doing on my channel. We will be doing Pokemon versus videos on how powerful Pokemon are. As nobody's doing it. Nobody talks about it. So I gotta do it for the world. But anyways, guys, stay tuned for that. Make sure I hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. And we also have the strongest Dragon Ball Z super character at this current time that will be going up next week as well. I think that will be going up the same time Goku versus Omni-Man. So like I said, hit that notification bell because you don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss none of that. Anyways, guys, I'm out. Peace out. I'll see you guys later. Let's check this joint on out, y'all.